Hi, I'm Jody Shamer, a project lead for our Future First strategic initiative at the Denver Museum of Nature and Science. Today, we're going to be sharing our Future First project status and the results of our early design phase, giving you the preview of our intent and direction of the design that we've created along with our community. We are deeply grateful to the thousands of community members who've helped us with their creative input and critical feedback, including the design that we're sharing today. Why community? Well, simply put, you members of our community know yourself best. Co-creating with you leads to a more successful, appealing, and impactful experience. That's what you want, and that's what the Denver Museum of Nature and Science wants. From a business perspective, this is similar to what many successful industry giants do, like Apple. You combine social science research and market research to gain a deeper understanding of what is relevant to our consumers, or in our case, our guests, what they need, and what their aspirations are for our product, or in our case, the museum experience. And we combine that with innovation and our own expertise, not only meeting but exceeding expectations from our community, because our community can see, hear, and feel echoes of themselves within the experience and discover things they never knew they wanted. Our community has helped refine our topics, our design, and most critically, has helped us understand that part of this experience is all about making choices. By making choices, it gives a more personalized, more customized experience and allows each individual to follow his or her own curiosity. Remember that choice making. You're going to hear a lot more about that in just a minute. Our community's idea, working with our design and science team, created this as the big idea for the experience. Our planet is changing at an unprecedented rate. By understanding our relationship as humans to the natural world and the ways in which our behavior and our biases, both conscious and unconscious, contribute to this change, we can activate our capacity for creativity and conscious action. Our community also helped us identify what they want to take away from this experience. First, that there is an interconnectedness that supports life and Earth systems. Second, together, our individual actions make a collective and meaningful difference. And third, our collective future on Earth mandates action in the face of climate change. To help fulfill that big idea and deliver on those takeaways, we have created 4 adventure narratives that guests can choose to explore. First, Eat or Be Eaten, a theme we have heard from communities, very popular especially with families with children aged 2 to 12, exploring our global food web and the relationships of plants and animals as part of that food web that sustains life on Earth. Second, beneficial bugs or pernicious pests. Insects are everywhere. Growing our understanding of insects, how their behavior impacts us, and how ours impacts them, and also a chance to explore these small animals from a perspective that is very different from that of humans. Resilience and response to climate change. Climate change was the most requested, most discussed of all the topics our community requested, across all ages and all demographics. Design sessions with communities want an experience that doesn't leave everybody depressed and yet still honors real-world challenges and complexities, leading us to focus on ecosystem resilience, how different ecosystems across our planet react and respond to changing climate, and on human opportunities to impact that ecosystem resilience, as well as explore how we humans ourselves respond to change. Lastly, water was a highly requested topic, understanding it both as part of Earth systems and as a precious and valuable resource, and so critical to our life in Colorado. Our science team helped create the content of these adventure narratives, reflecting current knowledge and anticipating the science trends of the future. Our communities want to follow the adventure narrative of their choice, making discoveries along their physical journey. Therefore, we need environments that are scientifically relevant to those 4 adventure narratives. Our community also wants nature. They've asked both for Colorado-relevant locations and locations that are even more exotic and extreme. And they've asked for take me there type experiences that are immersive, multisensory, beautiful, and provide unusual perspectives. Meeting all of these criteria, these are the 12 environments that will be part of our 4 adventure narratives. How will these translate into spaces in the museum? Take a look at that wetland lake image in the lower row on the left. Do you see those lily pads? Now, this is an example of how that ecosystem would translate into a physical space in the museum. Not a recreation of nature, but a deeply immersive, playful, and beautiful space where guests can explore and discover, and where the ordinary becomes extraordinary. You can imagine the color, the sounds, the integrated media and physical elements that are a delight to be in, and which can reveal and share information supporting those 4 narrative stories. This floor plan shows those different ecosystems distributed across the physical space on the museum's first floor where the new experience will be offered. For example, do you see the right side of the purple section? That's the freshwater section that corresponds with those lily pads that you just saw. Now, with the help of this floor plan, I'd like to give you a glimpse behind the scenes of how this infrastructure will give you those personalized experiences. This is the same as if a magician explained to you how she did her tricks. So I'm going to reveal the secrets first, and then I'm going to go back and show you from the audience's perspective. In the hub, our guest selects from one of the 4 adventure narratives. Their selection directs them to their first destination, this stop number 1 in the Arctic section. Here, our guests would do an activity, grow their understanding, make a choice. Then their choice would direct them to stop number 2, where they have a different type of activity, a different development in their story, and a different choice to make. And this pattern continues through all 7 stops. We at the museum know what these stops are, but the guest will discover them as part of their guided journey. But we've built in variation. Remember how our guests want to make their own choices? The choice making at each stop determines where they go. For example, pretend that you and I each chose the climate change adventure narrative. We both get directed to the same stop number 1. But at the conclusion of the stop number 1's activities, I make a choice that leads me to the blue stop number 2. You make a different choice, and your choice leads you to a different stop number 2, the one in the white circle. Both of us explore climate change, but our individual choices shape our own narratives. Each of our experiences are slightly different. We each have our own personal adventure. We each have our own activities and our own physical path through the ecosystems. We can go together or we can go separately, but we have the option to make our own individual choices. While we're only showing you 2 paths here, altogether there's more than 100 unique guided adventures. More than 20 for each of those 4 adventure narrative topics. You can retrace, you can try again, you could try something new each time, or you could visit an old favorite. Remember, we're showing you how this works behind the scenes. While our guests may never realize it, each of these hundreds of paths very deliberately has 7 stops. Each of those 7 stops completes one part of the story. For example, each stop number 1 introduces the problem or the challenge. Each stop number 3 has you learning by doing. Each stop number 5 is a creative station where you explore innovation and create something of your own. Each stop number 7 ties your whole adventure together and reveals the interconnectivity with other guests in the real world. Together, that sequence builds a story that starts with a challenge and ends with a solution that you help create, small or large. Likewise, each of these 7 stops have different types of activities. Stop number 1 is a passive instructional learning. Stop number 2 is a physical place to explore, sort of like a scavenger hunt. Stop number 4 gives you the chance to experiment with digital simulations. Stop number 6 is an iterative experiment station where you can test and retest ideas to see impacts. There's places to be more physical, there's places to socialize, and there's spaces just to absorb. The range of activities supports many different learning styles and builds on 21st century skills. All right, now that you've seen how the magic is done, we're going to show you the experience from the perspective of a guest. Before we do that, a short disclaimer. This is still early design. It's a proof of concept, but it doesn't have the final activities, the final science, the final language, or the final design look. You start your adventure in the hub. a space 100% inspired by our community's ideas. You have the option of picking up something that right now we've nicknamed the Magic Lens. It's a device that helps provide choices and also provide some of the content. You could also choose to free explore without using the Magic Lens. You start off by choosing one of the 4 adventure narratives. Depending on your choice, you'll be directed to a specific ecosystem. You'll also have the chance to choose whether you want your narrative adventure in English or in Spanish. You chose the climate change narrative adventure and are directed to start your journey in the Arctic ecosystem. You hear the sounds and feel a drop in temperature in this immersive multi-sensory space. A combination of integrated media and your Magic Lens introduces you to a particular problem or challenge. The Magic Lens gives you hidden layers, and you can also explore this ecosystem's activities, such as maybe an iceberg slide or a chance to meet some of the animals of the Arctic or other fun activities. Once you're tired of exploring the Arctic, your Magic Lens gives you a choice, and the choice you make will determine where you go next and will help shape your personal adventure. Your choice, based on your own interests or your own conclusions, in this case led you to mountains. Just like the Arctic, this is a place of beauty with sounds and lights and new activities to explore. You're now going on a scavenger hunt. What can you find to build up your own understanding of climate change and the mountain ecosystem? You can explore on your own, or your Magic Lens can continue to support you. You're on a climate change adventure. If you were in the mountains on a water adventure, your Magic Lens would be giving you different clues and asking you different questions. As before, at some point you're asked to make a choice based on your own interests or curiosity, providing a more personal experience. And, as before, your choice helps direct your next step on your adventure. Wow, your choice led you to the desert, a vulnerable ecosystem when climate changes. You can free explore this, or you can go back to your Magic Lens as your role in the story increases. Now you're facing a wildfire consuming some of the dry brush. Presented with a choice, you decide to fight the wildfire. Your screen reads your motions as you use your whole body to direct firefighting efforts. You get information on how effective it was, as well as how economy and costs factor in. If you wanted to, you could go back and choose to let the fire burn, or to fight it in a different way. But you choose instead to go to your next destination. You're now in an all-digital simulation environment that you control. This one is about weather and climate. Because of your Magic Lens device, the room knows what adventure you're on and what choices you've made. It shares visual simulations based on cross-discipline science related to your particular journey so far. You get to experiment by altering a few key variables to see the impact on the planet. When you're done, your Magic Lens again offers you the choice to continue. With your new information from your simulation, now you're interested in how you might make that desert environment more resilient to climate change, and how human innovation might help with some of the impacts of climate change. You choose to explore a real engineering idea about robots that may safely fight fires. You help think about what would make a good firefighting robot. Your Magic Lens gives you the option of trying out your robot in a wildfire in the mountains. Your robot performs pretty well, and you also have an idea of how you could make it even better. You have the option of going back and changing its design, but you decide instead to return to the hub where you started. In the hub, all the adventurers come together, and you have a chance to hear from others about their adventures or to see what they're exploring. Your Magic Lens let the hub know what your personal story was, and the hub shares real-world information on forest fires, on deserts, and on climate change. You could choose to do your climate change adventure again, or with a different choice, you could pick a different adventure narrative. Or you can free explore this experience without the Magic Lens, even leave and enjoy the museum's other programs and exhibitions. And you are always welcome to return again to have a completely different adventure. Thank you again for going on one of our many adventure narratives. While we provide the option for guiding, you heard there's also opportunities for exploring on your own. One of the opportunities our guests definitely want to explore is around gems and minerals. In the lower right corner, you can see a section specifically dedicated to our amazing collection of gems and minerals. Our community loves these gems and minerals so much that they want to make sure we provide a new grand entrance to this area. Coming from the Gems and Minerals location, you can also explore related areas such as underground, caves, mountains, volcanoes, all related geologically to gems and minerals. Coming from the hub side, you may be on an adventure that could take you to exploring volcanoes' roles in releasing carbon, or may take you underground to learn more about water purification, all of which connect naturally back to gems and minerals. Here is an illustration demonstrating what our community would like to explore in Gems and Minerals. First, beautiful and colorful gems and minerals from around Colorado and from the rest of the world. Our community wants them in their natural shapes, not cut and polished. Our community wants more specimens that are touchable, while we still preserve rare and delicate ones behind glass. Our community wants bigger and more spectacular specimens rather than lots of little ones. And our community wants to explore, crawl, peer, climb, move, go through immersive, dark, but colorful environments. Our community also wants us to continue to showcase some of their favorites: our rhodochrosite, our incredible aquamarine, our crystal cave, and our amazing collection of Campion gold. Our community wants to learn why minerals look the way they do, what makes them red or blue or cubic or spiky. And our community wants to know specific stories behind specific specimens. Where did it form? How did it make its way to the museum? And understanding why Colorado is such a mineral-rich state and stories from Colorado's rich mining history. Thank you for letting us share our early design. As you can see, we've accomplished a lot and are looking forward to finalizing our content and designs with our scientists, our designers, and most importantly, our community. We know we're a few years out from opening. Designing something this complicated with integrated media and interconnected stories is complex. Our next phase is a guided fundraising feasibility phase, where we're exploring fundraising opportunities to help guide our scope and future design choices. As we move into our next design phase, we're going to continue to work with community members. If you're one of those community members, thank you so much for your time and your creativity. We absolutely cannot do this project without you. If you would like to become one of our community members that helps us create this experience, we invite you to contact us at communityresearch@dmns.org. And if you have any questions, you're also welcome to use that email address. Thank you for joining us today.